good evening. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks.
Don't these recent events show that Labour's leaders may be against anti-Semitism, but they're quite a long way from eradicating it?
Yes, I think they do. I think we've seen that Sir Keir Starmer has been very determined to kick anti-Semitism out of his party. But the events of the last couple of days have shown how deeply entrenched it really is within the Labour Party still.
Yeah, because, I mean, the central problem seems to be that you had this meeting, you had a Labour candidate speaking at this meeting, spouting what is a grotesque conspiracy theory, anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, and apparently no one in the room spoke out then or did anything about it afterwards.
Yes, and I think that's the problem. I think, unfortunately, it feels like Labour can deal with anti-Semitism when they're caught with their hands in the cookie jar. But actually, if they think no one's looking, they're very happy to carry on spreading these vile hate and these conspiracy theories. And there was nobody there that was willing to stand up and call out any of these people. And that has got to be something that needs to be addressed by the party as quickly as possible.
Or they will act when the culprit is to the left, on the left of the party. I mean, are there double standards being exercised here?
I think there's double standards and triple standards left, right and centre. I think we're seeing low-hanging fruit often that is being dealt with quickly. I think we're seeing that, yes, some of those on the furthest left are being dealt with quickly. But it's not consistent, and it's not dealing with the underlying problems that there is still serious anti-Semitism in some parts of the party.
Do you agree with Mike Katz of the Jewish Labour movement, who said that those at the meeting who did nothing should also be suspended?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, I think we have reached the point where silence is complicity. And I think that we really need to think about why nobody stood up and said this is wrong. If there was another form of racism being expressed publicly, I think more people would have said, no, that's not okay. You can't say those kinds of things, which does lead us to what kind of anti-Semitism was this? What were they talking about? This was anti-Semitism that came from anti-Israel sentiment. And that seems to be quite acceptable nowadays in the UK. We only have to look at the sky-high figures around anti-Semitic incidents, particularly since October 7th, and look at that and acknowledge that something that happened in Israel is having a massive impact on British Jews.
And how worried should Labour be about this? I mean, a poll today, and I know it's only one poll, is suggesting that the Labour lead over the Conservatives has fallen by 7 points, partly because of this struggle with the anti-Semitism allegations. So that will be worrying the leadership.
Yes, look, I think these things have an impact. I think that what it shows is that Labour is not dealing decisively with all of these issues that come up. And I think that makes people feel insecure. It certainly makes people feel insecure within the Jewish community. But I think that has ripples. I think we don't want to see that the Labour Party is trying to elect people who maybe aren't anti-Semitic, but maybe they were a little bit naive and taken in by a conspiracy theory, as was suggested about Mr. Ali. I think people don't feel safe and secure with that. I think they want to know that if they are going to vote for Labour in the next election, that this is a party that they can trust.
And when Keir Starmer says that he's ripped out anti-Semitism at its roots, you're saying that's not true?
I think I've said that to one of your colleagues at the time, and I did say very clearly, and I will say again, it's not for Mr. Starmer to say he's ripped out anti-Semitism by the roots. It's for the Jewish community to say that. And quite frankly, I think the response of the Jewish community to what has happened over the last 3 days shows that there is still a degree of anxiety and uncertainty about just how he is dealing with the anti-Semitism that so clearly still exists. He's done a fantastic job. He has taken a party that was unelectable and a party that was riddled with anti-Semitism from the top down. But it's not enough. And I think there are many in the Jewish community that still feel very uncertain and very unsure that they can really trust the party in the next election. And that's what Sir Keir needs to do. He needs to make sure that the Jewish community knows that they can trust him if he's elected Prime Minister.
OK, Fiona Sharpe, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the programme this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.